Okay, I think we'll get started. If you're coming from the G&L project, I encourage you to look at the intro video to this playlist to make sure this is the right place for you. If you're coming from the Concordia class, then this is our lecture on motion in 2 dimensions. Well, sort of 2 dimensions. So we're going to be talking about a very important case of an inclined plane or a ramp situation where we have a cart rolling down a ramp or a ball rolling down the ramp or something like that. So we've got this ramp that we draw this way, and it definitely is 2 dimensions because we start here at one X and Y position. We end up down here at another X and Y position. So we've changed both X and Y, so we need 2 dimensions to describe that motion. However, something feels a little more constrained here. The cart has to roll on the ramp. It can't just move around willy-nilly in the 2 dimensions. It has to be stuck on the ramp. So it really, because of that constraint, it really is a one-dimensional problem. All we have to do to describe its motion is how is it moving along the surface of this ramp. So what we do is we take our black coordinate system here, our normal, vertical, and horizontal, and just turn it exactly to match the angle of the ramp. So whatever the ramp is, we create a new coordinate system, x prime and y prime, indicated in red here. And so what happens there is the cart now moves only in the x prime direction. So we've taken this 2-dimensional problem and reduced it to a 1-dimensional problem. So this is a very important technique where we can rotate our coordinate system such that we reduce the dimension of the problem. So whenever you can reduce a dimension of a problem in physics, you've made some progress just right off the bat. So while yes, it's moving around in 2 dimensions, or this ramp exists in 2 dimensions, it really is just a 1-dimensional problem. However, we can't get something for nothing. So we've made this change. Now we have to figure out, well, what is going on? So I let go of this. It's going to go down the ramp, and it's going to go down because it's in gravity. If this was just in outer space, it would just sit there and not do anything. So we let go, and it moves down the ramp because of gravity. But imagine if we had just ever so slightly tilted. We let go. It's just going to slowly creep along that. If we have it really tilted and let go, woof, it's going to take off. Then if we were completely straight up and down, it would be just like a free fall problem. We go to the other extreme and go completely flat, and we let go, it wouldn't move at all. So gravity will push it down the ramp depending on this angle. So there's an angle dependence to the acceleration down the ramp. So how do we figure that out? Well, we take and we draw a perpendicular here. And what we're doing is we're looking for this component of the gravitational acceleration. Now, our direction here is going to be plus or minus. So that's carrying the vector notation. Again, we've reduced this to 1 dimension, so we typically remove that arrow on top, and the sign carries the vector. Now, one of the complications is, did I draw my ramp this way or did I draw my ramp this way, right? I could easily have just drawn the ramp the other direction. Usually the problem doesn't tell you which way to draw the ramp. In this case, I'm progressing in what we would typically call the positive x prime direction, and in this way, I'm typically going in the negative x prime direction. Thus, the plus or minus will depend on whether we draw the ramp this way or this way. And then the magnitude of this will just be our 9.8 meters per second squared times sine of that angle. So we use our trigonometry to figure out the gravitational component along the ramp. Well, let's check our formula against these extremes. We said if we're perfectly flat, we see no acceleration. Perfectly flat means 0 degrees. We plug in 0 degrees into sine. Sine of 0 is 0. And so we indeed get acceleration of 0. 90 degrees, sine of 90 degrees is 1, and we get an acceleration of minus g in this case, going downward. Okay, well, let's work a problem, and the ramp problems themselves are pretty simple and straightforward. I think you can, once you understand this part, what we just talked about, and how to get the gravity, then it just becomes the problems you've been working on. But let's put this together in a little more elaborate problem. let's say we've got this runway and we're going to let go of this cart. It's going to go down the ramp and then it's going to go along a flat surface. We're going to ignore any friction or wind resistance. And we're going to time how long does it take from when we let it go to when it crosses the finish line over here. Well, in this part of the problem, so if our ramp went all the way here, then that would be an easy problem. It's just the ramp problem. As long as we get our gravity figured out, then it's just a very simple problem. This is a little more difficult because the ramp stops here. So what we have to do is split this into two problems. A ramp problem down to here. What we'll do is we'll try to calculate we will calculate the velocity of the cart as it comes off the ramp, and then it just runs in uniform motion along the flat ground here. So the remaining 50 meters, it's just going to be uniform motion. So we have two problems that we know how to do, and that's going to be something you want to look for in these in many problems to come. Is can you split the physics into a couple of different problems that you know how to solve? Okay, well, let's get the angle. That's going to be arctangent of 10 divided by 50, not 100, but 50. That's the base here. So that's 12.5 degrees. So let's plug in that here. And so we have a plus, because we're going down, we drew the ramp this way. G sine 12.5, that's 1.9 meters per second squared. Okay. Let's use our kinematic equation here. Our initial is 0. Right, so let's put that in here. Our initial velocity is 0 because we're just going to let go. But here's a trick, and I actually had the mistake on the board. I had to fix it. Was we're not 50 meters here, right? We're the hypotenuse. It's almost 50 because this is such a flat. The angle's not very big, but if we have to use Pythagorean theorem, and we get 51 then. So instead of 50, it's 51. That's this distance here. And then we have our acceleration from up here, and then that will calculate our time to get down the ramp. So we use essentially it's a free fall problem, but with a different acceleration. So basically solve, this should be 51. Might change that a little bit. You can check that. Probably still 7.2 for sure. Okay, then we now want to get the velocity as we come off the ramp. So initial velocity is 0. So final velocity equals initial velocity, which is 0, times the acceleration times the time. And so we get 13.8 meters per second. Now we're here and we undergo uniform motion. So our formula for uniform motion then is this. That's our kinematic equation for uniform motion. Now we're in a separate problem now. So we aren't using the x prime coordinate. We're using our regular x coordinate, our flat horizontal coordinate. Our initial is 50, right? And our final is 100. So the difference between these two is 50. So I'm going to bring this over to this side. There's our 50. We have our 13. This is our initial velocity. And so that I'll just divide by that, and that gives me my total time along the flat surface. And so we now have the time for the ramp and the time for the total. So 7.2 plus 3.6, 10.85 meters per second. I should always put units, meters per second here. All right, so that is our first step towards full-blown 2 dimensions. We will start that, we'll do circular motion, and then we'll do actually full-blown 2-dimensional motion. All right, we'll get more practice with this in the homework and in class.